Hi everyone, I'm Rachel Tessman from stampyourartout.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Andover, Minnesota in the US. And today I'm bringing you a special live paper crafting class because it's all about Paper Pumpkin. Paper Pumpkin is one of my favorite products that Stampin' Up! Carries. It's a kit that comes to your door, well, your mailbox. And then you open it up and all the fun surprise inside is full of creativity. You get to make cards. It's just so much fun. It's like a little retreat every month. So in this video, I'm going to share my first set of alternates. What are alternates? I take the contents of the kit and I create other things with it so that you, as a subscriber of these kits, have other options, right? So you don't have to make the choreographed project that's in the instruction little pamphlet inside the kit. You can take and use the ideas that I share, or if you go to Google the ideas or Pinterest, or if you go to the Paper Pumpkin Fan Club on Facebook, there's all kinds of ideas that are shared out there with the contents of these kits. So you can turn the cards into scrapbook pages. You can turn the cards into 3D projects. You can multiply the cards in the kit. You can do fun fold cards from them. So that's what I love to do. And I've been doing it since day one when the first kit came out in March of 2013. So I hope that you enjoy what I have to share today. I'm going to share my first set of alternate projects with you with the April 2025 Inked Occasions kit that just arrived in my mailbox on Monday evening. And today is Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025 at 11 a.m. Central Time. I want to give a special welcome to Trisha Josephs. She's my moderator here on YouTube. She has a little wrench symbol next to her name. So if you have questions along the way, you can tag her by typing the @ sign, the A with the circle around it, and then TRICIA, Trisha Josephs. Tag her and she will see your comment and then she can, or your question, and she can answer you. But she's here to moderate and help me out because if I read the comments the whole time we're going, I get distracted. So I would love to, but I only catch a few here and there. If you have something that you want me to see, maybe put it in capital letters or put like really fun emojis next to it or something like that, and it tends to stand out more for me. But let's see, what do I want to tell you next? Okay, so I'm going to use extra supplies while I share today, and those extra supplies are listed in the information in the video. So if you click on that, you can open it up and you can see all these extra supplies. The kits ship, and then that's who gets them, okay? Every once in a while, Stampin' Up! Has a surplus of extra kits, but it's sometimes, a couple months out or months out from now. And so you might not ever get your hands on this full kit unless you're an active subscriber. So I invite you to subscribe, and the link for subscribing is also in the description of my video. But if you're an active subscriber and you have this kit in your hands, hopefully you can take some of these ideas and apply them if you like them. If you don't have this kit in your hands and you didn't get it, hopefully you can take these creative ideas and tips and use them towards other projects or maybe future kits that you might get. What else do I want to tell you before you get started? A couple other things. This is alternate set number 1, and I usually share 2 different times publicly within videos. I typically do it within videos. Sometimes I share just on my blog and my website. I put it up a little higher here. It's going to cover my head. My website is stampyourartout.com, and so you can find lots of things there, lots of goodness there. The next set of alternates that I'm going to share with you will be a few weeks from now, and I team up with other demonstrators who also like to do alternates, and we do a blog hop, and that blog hop is on May 9th this time. So enjoy the ideas that I have to share with you. Oh, and I also share some ideas that are not public. Those ideas come to my subscribers and my team members and those who want to purchase them in a bundle of projects bundled together in a tutorial. They're called the Paper Pumpkin Creatives. And so you can get your hands on those on the first of each month following the release of the kits. So for this particular kit, which is just arriving on people's doorsteps now, those alternates will be available May 1st. Okay, I think I went through everything. We are going to draw a prize at the end, so if you are interested in getting in on a prize drawing, you just need to log into your YouTube or Google account so that you can comment on the live as we go. Okay? All right, let's go down to the desktop. Oops, hang on. Have that button issue. And I did do an update on my computer. The last live I did, I mentioned that maybe I just have to do a little update on my iPad. And I did, and it's still happening. So I do need to reach out to Switcher Studio because it just takes too much time. Here's my desktop. Okay, let's get started. So this is the kit manual, the little pamphlet that comes with the kit. Inked Occasions is the name of it, and you can see on the cover of this little instructional pamphlet that these are the cards that you'll be creating if you follow the choreographed project. You make 3 of these cards, 3 of these, and 3 of these. They're gorgeous. They have that alcohol ink background look. And so we're going to be taking a third of the kit today. Yes, we're going to multiply. We're going to take the products that make up those cards, the envelopes, the card bases, the extra little supplies here, like the hugs and the sentiment pieces, these little die cut pieces here. We're going to take all of these and we're going to cut them and divvy them up to multiply the cards in the kit. It's one of my favorite go-tos for creating with kits. But this is a little bit different in that I took and multiplied, but then I also made variations. So you're going to get more than just those ideas. You're going to get options for those ideas too. And I promise you that I will go as quickly as possible as we share these alternates so that we can get this video done in time. And so those of you that are newer to paper crafting, just hang in there and watch the replay if you're overwhelmed by everything. So those are the pieces that we get. There's not a lot of extra pieces, but the paper is to die for. So we're going to give this a go. Let's start, and I'm going to shove these off to my right here. Let's start by bringing in some extra cardstock. We're going to use the White Willow cardstock because I feel like the White Willow cardstock has a cooler tone to it, and it tends to be a little bit more coordinating with the kit white, okay? So we have basic white and we have kit white. This is kit white, okay? This is White Willow, and this is basic white, okay? Basic white is a little warmer. You can see there is a difference. So this cooler type of White Willow, which is a newer cardstock, we have it in 12 by 12 only, is the one that I'm going to now for my kit alternates. I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut it to 8.5 inches. I'm going to hang on to that. I'm going to cut in this direction to 11 inches. Okay, and I'm using the arm on my trimmer if there's an extra arm that extends out. And now I have 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and I can take and score this and then cut to get 2 different card bases. For this card base, I'm going to score at 5.5 inches. You can see I'm putting this edge here. I'm going to score with my light blade, and then I'm going to come, turn it this way, go to 4.25 inches, and I'm going to cut with my dark blade. And now I have 2 card bases that open and close like this. We'll set those aside. Let's do this one now. We're going to cut at 8.5 inches. Now, if you cut at 11 inches, that's fine, except I feel like it's nice to have this extra 12-inch piece to use in scrapbooking, to use, it's just a fuller, wider piece that way than cutting it at 11 and throwing away if you don't want this. Of course, this is great for sentiment strips, but you would be cutting off a little longer piece of this 1 inch down here, and then this would become shorter. So always try to cut the most effectively for your card production, right? Let's go ahead and score that. Oh, you know what? I was gonna, well, we'll do one more because I was gonna do one more anyways. Okay, so we got that done. Now let's bring in this one, and we're going to go in a different direction this time, Rachel. Sometimes I get mad at myself. All right, so this time we're going to score, think Rachel, think. We're going to score this way first at 4.25, Okay, now I've got my score this way, and if I rotate it, I'm cutting it 5.5. And now I have card bases that open up like this. Okay, hang on to these pieces. You're going to do that with several sheets of basic white, and it depends on how many, if you're going to bring in black or not, okay? So if you're going to be doing this with all white, then turning 3 cards into 13, I know, it's more than quadruple, you guys. 3 cards into 13, you're going to be needing 8, what is that? Convert 4.5, it's 4 sheets, 5, 6, that's 8, 9, 10. You're going to need 5 sheets that are, or 10 bases that, no, 11 bases that look like this. And then you're going to need 2 that look like that. Okay? Got my little cheat sheet over here. These pieces here can become layers, especially if you're going to use an alternate color. What do I mean by an alternate color? Well, let's say you don't want to do white bases. Let's say you want to do a colored base. Berry Burst is the ink color that comes in the kit. Yes, you get ink and you get stamps. This is the ink color that comes in the kit. And I'll be using the larger version of it. So maybe you want to get Berry Burst cardstock for your bases, just to give things a more brighter, colorful feel. I choose white and black often because I want beginning crafters to feel like they don't have to own it all. They don't have to have a full craft room in order to do alternates with kits, in order to enjoy the kits. So you'll tend to see me do a lot of basic type of projects with mine, unless you're in one of my subscribers. Then I ramp it up sometimes and do some more detailed types of projects with my creatives group for the alternates that we send out. And every once in a while I get fun with it and I throw in dies or I throw in embossing folders. So hang on to these because these could become layers. You could just trim, put this on the inside of your card. We're also going to take one of these and we're going to punch using that cardstock. So now that we have a few layers to use up, we're going to bring in our first, actually I shouldn't have put that away. We're going to bring in our first card base. So for our first card base, which is the one with the gold outline, we're going to trim it in half. So we're going to cut at 4¼ inches. The score line for that card should go right through the middle. This piece you're going to set aside for now, and this one we're going to trim. We're first going to trim, thanks for the butterflies, Marcia. We're first going to trim at 1/4 inch on this short edge. We want that short edge to be full, okay? So we don't want to trim here first, we want to trim here first. And you'll see why. Normally I say, hey, you can use that for something else or throw it away or whatever. We're going to set that aside because we're going to use it. Now I'm going to trim on the blue side because the blue side is fuller than the purplish side, right? And we're going to trim that off because we had quite a lot of blue. And this is going to be our first card base piece layer. We're going to use that with the hugs. So for the hugs, you're going to take and you're going to put dimensionals on the back. Now you get adhesive with the kit too. Let me pull that out. You get a bunch of little dimensionals with this kit. But if we're going to turn 3 cards into 13, or if you want to do your whole kit this way, 9 cards into 29, you're going to need a lot more dimensionals. So then I bring in these dimensionals here. They're a little bit bigger. You can also, and I've cut down my sheet, but you can also bring in extra mini dimensionals. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll take and add dimensionals to the back side. I could fit a full one right there, but then when it comes to say like a section here, I probably want to use a smaller one. In fact, what I probably want to do is take and trim, because even the edges of dimensionals are useful. So I can take and trim, peel off the backing, stick that on, and all of these have backings on one side and the other side, okay? So once I peel that off, it's sticky, and it'll pop down onto my project, and you can already see the shadow against the trimmer. So we're gonna do that here and there. It doesn't have to be all over the place, but I would probably put one here, 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 and here. Okay, just to give it a lot more lift. After I've done that, I'm going to stamp onto one of these little sentiment strips. Okay, I'm going to take the rounded one and flip it over, and I'm going to grab my stamps because yes, the kit comes with stamps too. Let me find them. I just had them. All right, Rachel's already losing things on her desktop, you guys. Hang on. They are here. I know they are. If not, we're just going to have to open up a whole new kit. Okay, let's go slowly. Oh, it's under the ink pad. Okay, so here are my stamps. You can see we've got thinking of you, congratulations, hugs. In fact, let me show you this because this is easier to look at. This is a sheet that comes with it that shows you all the different stamps that you can get. Look at the pretty butterflies in there. So now we're going to take one of these stamps, and I think I'm going to use the sending my love. And you'll take and put the stamp part down onto your table. In fact, do it on paper so that it's not sticking onto the surface, the shiny surface of your trimmer. Put it onto your desktop here, your grid paper, then grab a block and pick up the flat side of your stamp. Open up your ink spot or your ink pad, tap, tap, tap lightly, and I'm going to show you on this surface because it's a little bit darker so you can see the difference here. Then you're going to, and I'll zoom in, tap, 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 you're going to stamp to the left. Okay, I'm stamping to the left because I'm going to add this within my hugs word. Okay, so when I mount this onto my card, I'm going to tuck this right here like that. And it's going to give a really, really fun look as if that paper is coming out from the S. So now let's pull in that finished card. This is what that one would look like when you're done. I have added this layer to my cardstock that folds in this direction with dimensionals, one in each corner. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then there's dimensionals underneath the word hugs because you can see the shadow. The sending my love is stuck across the G and has one dimensional just under here. And then I stamped some butterflies with the Berry Burst ink. For these alternates, I'm not using an extra ink color. Can you believe it? I think that this is nice and deep and dark and really coordinates well with all the pieces. Sometimes Rachel brings in an extra ink pad or whatever, but not this time, so yay. All right, that's card number 1. We have a lot more to go, so we're gonna go fast. I told you we're going fast. All right, the next card, and let's just create a pile here. I'll put that tool over there. I'll put these over here. Okay, and we're saving these strips. Oh, you don't see them. We're saving these little strips up here, so don't throw those away. The next card. Let's take and cut this in half. So half of 5 1/2 is 2 3/4 inches. So we're going to the 2 3/4 inch mark and we're going to slice. And we're keeping this, because of that gold outline, we're keeping this that size. So it's going to reach to the 2 sides of our card, or the top and bottom, depending on how you look at it. The 2 sides of our cards are going to touch the sides of this layer. So we're going to make this touch the top or the bottom. I'm just going to take a quick peek at my notes to make sure I'm sharing everything. Oh, I was going to stamp something for you. Let's do that. Let's just pause for a minute. I'm going to bring in this scrap because that way they'll be ready. Bring in our ink, bring in our hugs, and we're going to bring in our word congrats. Okay, opening up our ink pad. Again, I've put the stamp down on my table. Now I'm picking up the flat side. I'm going to ink, ink, ink. Oops. Stamp. And I'm bringing my punch, my 2-inch circle punch. Okay, this is the 2-inch circle punch. Opening it up by pressing that forward. Keeping this upside down. bringing it into my paper into my punch and punching. And now I have a fun little sentiment layer. I believe the 2-inch circle punch or any similar size circle punch or die would give you the same results as I'm doing on these cards. And I did use the punch, I think, on 5 cards because I felt like we needed some fun layers that weren't just the word layers that you get with the kit. Let's do this one next. Okay, I'm going to punch first because I want to try to figure out how to fit. In fact, let's make the most use of this paper by going the opposite direction. There. See, we can get even more punches out of it if you go back and forth kind of zigzag. Okay, for this one, my congratulations is not going to fit all the way across that circle. So let's do some creative maneuvers here. We're going to cover up the ulations. Congratulations. We're covering up the ulations, the U and the rest of the word. Okay, so we only have congrat. We're going to ink up the word congrat, and ooh gosh, notice I got some ink over off to the side. That's why I put the tape on there. So you take the tape off now, and there's no ink on the rest of that. I'm going to save that tape because I might want to use it again. And I'm going to stamp that off to the left. I've already pre-punched the circle, which helps me because then I know about how far to estimate to stamp that down. So I'm going to stamp it. And now I'm going to clean off my stamp. You can use a washcloth. You can use baby wipes. These are water-soluble inks, so all you have to do is clean off with water if you want to. But if you want to get fancy, you can get the scrub, which is what I'm using here, the Stampin' Mist, which is also great for cleaning stamps because it also conditions the stamps. Okay, and then I like to put it against my hand to get off any extra ink, stamp it on my table, make sure that there's no wetness on that stamp. I'm going to come in with my mask and I'm going to cover up everything, well, not everything, but most everything before the S. Inking up just the S, pulling off my tape, trying not to get my fingers on that tape because that tape has ink on it, and then stamping my S to give the word congrats. Yay! Now we have the word congrats. Okay, so we have a hugs, we have a congrats, and I'm going to put these up here. Okay, so let's now shift back to one of these cards. This time I'm using one of the card bases that folds in this direction. We'll use our bone folder, give it a good crease, and making sure I'm following my directions here. We've done that. We've done that. Okay. Alrighty. So next we're going to take and do our, which one are we doing? We're doing the hugs one, I think. Oh, no, we're doing the congrats one. Okay. So we're gonna put this at the top of our card. I wrote myself notes so that I would be efficient, but I have to stop and read the notes. You can put adhesive along all the edges, especially if you're going to go right up close to the edge of your card with the layer. That way it doesn't accidentally pull up, right? Or you can take and just put a little in each corner. It's up to you how much adhesive you want to use. We'll flatten this down and we will add this to the front like that, lining everything up. Ta-da! Oh, I forgot something. I knew I was going to forget something. Hold on. Okay. Do you see this beautiful paper? It's called gold foil. And I'm going to use a bit of it here. Let's see if I can find a big enough piece. I'm going to use 1/4 inch of a strip. If you are using a thin scrap like this, you can use sticky notes to hold onto the edge and then put it where you want in your trimmer. And then stick your Post-it note down. lay that down and trim. Okay, hopefully we don't have our adhesive too far to the edge there. Looks like we're good. Rachel always forgets something. It's okay, we're live, right? Okay, now I'm going to take my glue, my multi-purpose liquid glue, which I've transferred into my precision tip bottle because it helps me to make really, really thin lines. And I'm going to add just a little bit of glue, and I'm using my card as kind of a guide to say, hey, how much glue do I need on here? Just about that much. Flip it over, and we're going to tuck it because Rachel forgot to put it on beforehand. We're going to tuck it under here. I'll demonstrate for you what to do though if you do it the right way. Okay, now that that's on there, we're just going to flip our card over and trim. Oops, but we're going to have to trim here too because I can see it. So if you are doing it the right way, you're going to do this instead. Okay, let's stick this back in our trimmer at 1/4 inch. Tack our Post-it note down. Trim. Get our strip. Take our layer, add adhesive to that layer. You could do this without gold foil, but gold foil is one of the 2 embellishments that I highly recommend for this kit to make these 13 from 3 spectacular. So now that that's on there, we can trim up the edges. I almost had it right there. And trim up this side. Okay, that layer is now like this one. And we would use that on another card. I'm not going to do that right now, but let's take our congrats and bring that in. And this piece from the kit that looks like this. And we're going to trim that right in half because we're going to use it on 2 separate cards. It's this pretty gold foil. We're going to flip it over and add adhesive. You can use your seal, or if that seal is too hard to manipulate onto that little half circle, you could use the multi-purpose liquid glue, however you want to do it. This piece is going to go underneath our congrats, which is going to sit right here. Okay, so I'm just going to lay that down and press it in place. And I like to have this kind of left here to have like sort of a shadow, right? It lifts up more, but you could certainly glue that whole thing down if that bothers you. Then we'll take and turn this over. We'll add our dimensionals. And in fact, let's just reinforce this piece by putting a dimensional right on top of that so it doesn't move. And let's see here. So I'm going to just shift that. Congrats. That's where the dimensional is. We'll put one here and we'll put one here. There we go. Now we'll set this right on top of the part that we don't want anyone to see. And we could call that a finished card, or we could take and step it up. And this is the second embellishment that I recommend. All right, do you remember we had butterflies? Okay, let's bring in more butterflies, but this time let's make them gold. These are awesome butterflies. These are our brushed brass butterflies. And I'm going to use my take your pick tool, the gummy end, and we'll grab butterfly here. I don't know. I'm just putting them wherever I want, I guess. Butterfly there. Let's put it somewhere else. Let's stick it here. And let's put another small one up here. There we go. So we can fancy up our card a little bit more by doing that. So here's the difference between the two. It's still fairly fancy without, I feel like this isn't bright enough. Is this bright enough, you guys? Let me try something here. Hopefully. I'm trying to get the brightest light for you guys. Maybe it was brighter up there. Anyways, hopefully you can see this. It looks dark in my camera for some reason. But yeah, just a little touch of butterflies on there, whether they're gold or the stamped ones, can really up the card and make it a little more fancy. This is another idea with the congrats. So let's say you accidentally stamp your congrats up too high. You can take your other sentiment piece, or maybe you didn't do it accidentally, but maybe you can stamp your other words right below and stick that on top. And same thing, got the butterflies in there, but I want to fancy that up even more. So I'm going to bring in some dies. And normally, again, like I said in the beginning, Rachel does not use the dies, but every kit that we have now has a set of coordinating dies. So if you are somebody who owns either the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine or the regular size or whatever, you can use the paper pumpkin dies. These crank through and cut paper. So this is what I got from cutting the gold foil. I got this beautiful flower here, and I could add that to my card right here and make it a floral, butterfly-ish kind of wedding card. So just another option, another thought. Gives you more elements for decorating your cards if you wanted to use those dies. We'll bring them back, but let's set that aside. And let's go to the next card. All right, for the next one, and I'm going to look at my notes to make sure I'm doing this right. Okay, next one we're going to do is the... okay, this one here. All right, so let's take the layer that looks like this. So this is the beautiful, one of the beautiful card bases also. We're going to cut that, and we're going to cut it in half at 4 1/4 inches. So we're cutting right along that score line. And then I'm going to take those two edges where we cut, I'm going to stack them again, and I'm going to cut so that this is a 4-inch wide layer. And you might see a slight difference, which is what I did see on my first one also. A slight difference in here. That's okay, because these extra edges, oh, and I did it wrong. We'll make do. These extra edges here are not needing to have to be exactly, I have like glue on my fingernail. They don't have to be exactly 1/4 inch, okay? We should have cut in this direction first. Remember I said that at the beginning, because you want this piece to be 4 1/4 inches long. It's okay, it's okay. We'll figure it out. There's always a way to fix things in paper crafting, or cover it up, right? We can cover it up. So now we have these layers. Set those aside. For our gold, we can either use this strip here, or we can cut a really thin one, and I'm going to do that for you right now. We can cut a really tiny thin one, and I think this will do. That's about 1/8 inch. Okay, so on one card I used this piece, on another card I used a piece that was wider, and we're going to trim it. So for the one that is thinner, I would just take and put this on here through the middle, and then I would use my Thinking of You and Congrats pieces here, and let's just demonstrate that real quickly. We're going to stamp on these. So these are made to go with our stamps in the kit. We have the Thinking of You and the Congrats that I've already got mounted. Let us mount this stamp too with another block. Hang on. Thinking of You. Okay, oops, let's make it straighter. Okay, so for the Thinking of You, it looks like this when we put it onto our paper. Ink, ink, tap lightly, hover over the top, and stamp it down. So that's what that one will look like. And then the Congratulations, sorry for my arm being in the way there. I'm trying to use as much surface area as I can on my desk. All right, and there is the congratulations. So that's what they look like. They were made to fit those words. Okay, let's close that. And let's bring in the congratulations. So for the congratulations, I would just take and put this here, put it down with some really like a thin amount of glue, and then I would stick this on top so that you can see the underline of that gold foil on there. And then I would add a couple butterflies, and this is the card that I made for that. Really fun, right? And this is the base. It opens like this. For the other one, I would cut it in half. So you can take and cut this at not 2 3/4 anymore, because this is a little bit smaller, but I would cut it at 2 5/8. Okay, 2 5/8 inches. And that would give you a card. Oh, you know what? Let's just cut it. We're going to cut it because I have to demonstrate something. 2 5/8. We're already 35 minutes in, you guys. Got to go fast. Okay, so you've got these pieces here. Now I'm going to take and use this one here. I'll just grab that one and put the adhesive along the inked side of that paper. Attach that to my gold foil paper, like that. And then do the same thing with this one. Put the adhesive along the inked edge and connect. Before I connect that though, I want to make sure everything's straight, so I'm going to add this to my card base. Let's grab one of our card bases. Use our bone folder. Okay, so this one is going to go at the bottom, and because, oops, not fully in the camera, and because I want to, because it's going to be a small little gap in here, I'm going to press this a little bit further down so it's closer to the bottom than it is to the two sides, okay? All right, next I'm going to put adhesive on this and connect. And it's just a different way. There's always something. We're going to take the adhesive out. I had one ready though. I had one ready. So easy to change this adhesive out, you guys. Okay, so we're going to take and step this card up by just cutting it differently, right? We cut it differently so that we could have this fun connection of the two inked up areas together. So it just gives kind of an opposite look. And then again, at the top here, it's going to be a little closer to the edge than it is on the sides because of that gap through the middle. But now we have this fine little gold line through there. Makes it fancy. And then the Thinking of You could get mounted right about there on dimensionals so that you're still seeing that gold line except for underneath the G. Hi, Donna. Glad you could chime in. Now for this one, let's take those other stamps that we haven't used yet that I told you are so darn cute, and we're going to put them onto a block. So I've got my butterflies here. We're going to put one set of butterflies there, and we'll flip over our block and we'll put another butterfly there. All right, so let's ink these guys up in the corner of my pad, and we're going to stamp that up here. Don't worry about the ink that's in the middle. I pressed too hard. Sometimes when you press too hard, you get ink in areas that you don't want on your stamps, but as long as they're dipped in, they're not going to stamp, hopefully. And we'll stamp that one there. So now that's what adding the pink butterflies would give you, that sort of look, right? So there is that, and it looks like this when it's finished. So again, our words are up on dimensionals, and it's just a different opposite look, but the same type of card. So if you like one versus the other, you could totally do just one style, right? Let's say you like the ink coming together. Do that for both of them if you want to. Same thing with this one here. If you like your your fanciness on the top or the bottom more, then do it for both. Okay, the next card. Oh, and on this last one, do you remember those dies that I was telling you about? Okay, so you could take, and I think I have it here. Hang on. I need someone in my studio again today. Okay, so instead of putting this little strip on here, I mean, how regal would that look? And that comes from this die. So if you wanted to use the Hugs of Bloom dies again, you could maybe try that little look on your card. That's kind of fun, isn't it? All right, the next one. The next one is a fun fold. I'm going to demonstrate one of them. Let's take our card base and fold it and give it a good crease. And now we're going to add an extra crease to it. Set that over here for now. So we folded it at 5.5 inches. Let's go halfway between there at 2 3/4 and put another crease. Now with the white willow cardstock, I do need to warn you that if you go back and forth with your folds too much, it can really wear out those fibers. The quality of the white willow cardstock doesn't seem as strong as the basic white. Excuse me. Let me get some water. Oh my goodness sakes, Rachel. I'm not even going to tell you what happened, you guys. Did you see it? I opened my cap. Oh my goodness. Let's get a different sheet. There's always something, right? That's why lives are so much fun. Oh my goodness sakes. Okay, sigh. All right, Trisha, we might not get done in an hour. I just wanted water. We're putting it over here. All right, we have a new card base. Let's put another score line in there. So I was telling you that the quality I don't think is as strong as our basic white, because when you fold back and forth, which I've taught you to do with other easel cards, right? You're making an easel. And when you fold this back and forth over time to get that hinge to really be maneuverable, you can really weaken the hinge. It happens on the white willow more than it does, well, actually I've never seen it happen on any other cardstock. So just note that. Okay, over time this gets to be really roughed up looking, but I wanted to do that at least in this direction so that this is easy to just perk back up into the easel stand. We need to cut a couple more gold foil strips as I'm searching for more puddles on my desk. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's do that. Let's cut a 1/4 inch strip. Oh, I love it. The emojis. Thank you, Nancy Clark, for the laughing emoji. You're laughing with me. I know somebody said that in the last video. We're not laughing at you, Rachel. We're laughing with you. Because it is. It's funny. Oh my goodness. Hopefully none of the layers in my actual kit. I mean, I can spare some white cardstock. Like I can do that. I can do something else with that later. But please don't use up my kit pieces with puddles of water. All right, we have our 2 strips. We have our base. We hope that that isn't too wet. We're going to bring in our other card base. This card base here is going to get cut in half at 4 1/4 inches. So we're cutting right on the score line of that one to separate the 2 sides. And here are the different options for this one. Turn it this way or turn it this way. If you look, you can see that they're pretty much an exact replication of the other. But if you want to make your 2 cards different, you can keep them separated like this. Oh, and then we want to cut. We're going to cut a 1/2 inch off on this side. This 1/2 inch is going to still be used in the card, so let's just take and keep that over here. We're going to grab this piece though, and we're going to do some adhesive on the gold. And we're putting it on the gold only, not on the back side of this, because the back side is actually going to be exposed. So you could use your multi-purpose liquid glue, this stuff here, with the tiny, tiny precision tip bottle, or you can be super careful and you can run your adhesive through the middle. Because these strips are really thin, I'm going to go ahead and push it down a little bit here, kind of go down, and we're going to do the glue. We're going to do the glue on this one just to make sure that we are not getting outside of that little spot there. And we're going to connect this to the top so that it peeks out. Just a little hint of gold there. We had some wiggle time there, so I pushed it in. And now we're going to trim it. And we'll do the same thing to the bottom. And for the bottom, we don't have to be as worried, because we're going to stick this bottom part to our card. So I can go ahead and put my adhesive on here, grab that gold, and do the same thing that I did earlier, where I'm picking it up with that strip back there. And it's still sticky, but that's, again, going to be the bottom, and it's going to go down onto our card base in that bottom half. So let's grab our easel now. So this becomes the bottom because it's sticky, and this is going to become the top, and this is our easel on how we're going to connect it. Okay, so to connect it, flip this, make sure that you have more adhesive down at the bottom here, maybe a couple strips of adhesive, and then put some adhesive along the top here too. And we're just going to go along the top of that bottom half section. Oops, see that? So I have adhesive right along there. Can you see that? Oh gosh, I'm not tipping it right. There we go. So there's some adhesive, and here's some adhesive, and we're going to connect this layer to this layer with about 1/8 of an inch, maybe a little more at the top and bottom of our card. So it's connected here, and it's connected down here. Now we want our easel to stand up, and that's what this 1/2 inch section is for. So we're going to open this up. We're going to put dimensionals back here. And we're going to add that to our card inside. Now this is where grid paper comes in handy. I didn't write it in the supplies, but we also offer grid paper in our online store. Just click on any of the links of the products and it'll take you to the online store. So let's lay this on here so that we can see kind of the measurements on. And just make sure that wherever you connect this, high or low, that it's going to stay in that position. I think I'll go about here on this one. So I'm connecting on this side between those two squares and between the two squares here. So I put it 1.5 inches up. I think on my other one I put it like 1 3/4 inches up. But you can see now it flows into that design. Isn't that cool? So your stopper is a continuation of the design from the card. For this card, I did put the hugs on there on dimensionals. I put butterflies with the gold and a couple gold butterflies on the inside. And that's how that card looks. And then for this one, I stamped the butterflies and I put one of our congrats circles on there. You can see the difference in the two layouts as far as the paper goes. I used the paper differently on each card, and I did my butterflies differently on each card. So you have options. All right, and then if you really want to, let's bring in those dies again. So now I use the leaves and I can tuck that behind my congrats here to just give it even more glitz and glamour and something to pizzazz it up more, right? So there's that one. All right, we have 3 cards left. No, 5 cards left. No, 6 cards left. We can do this. Okay, so the next card is using one of the card bases that opens up like this. This one is wet, so I can't actually use it, but I'm just going to walk you through the look of it. I took my piece that looked like this, because we don't have a lot left. We have the envelopes and we have this. Oh, and we have our strips, right? So I took this piece and I cut it right about here. And then I trimmed these little branches away to keep this stem straight. Okay. So I cut it right through there, and I got two separate pieces. And for one card, it looks like, oops, get that off of there. One card looks like this and one card looks like this. You can tack it down directly with your glue using the precision tip bottle, or if you really want to take your time, put dimensionals under all of those layers, and then you have this little shadow. So, and I think it looks great against the white. Although, this is one of those cards that if you wanted to, and you had an extra little piece of white for your sentiment, you can take and put it against the black, and look how intense that is. In fact, a lot of these cards, if you put them against the black, just look at how that really just shows off. Doesn't that show off the paper just so much? It's just so intense against the black. So that's why I listed basic black as an option if you wanted to for your card bases. For this one, you wouldn't be able to stamp that, but you could put one of your sentiment strips on there or some extra white cardstock. And here is where that extra white cardstock would come in handy for your layers, your inside layers. All right, then for this one, I didn't put it together all the way, but I might add the word hugs. And where'd the hugs come from? There it is right there. Now, if you're seeing any of these supplies and you want to purchase them, you certainly can. You can go to my website at stampyourartout.com and you can click the shop button and it will take you there so that you can shop these products. But you can also just go in the description of the video and click on the links and it will also bring you to shopping. Now, if you have a demonstrator already, shop from them. If you are a demonstrator, shop from yourself. Right now, today, we have two sales. So I'm stopping in the middle of this because I want to tell you about these things. We have two sales. One of them is on paper pumpkin. So if you are an active subscriber, you can take advantage of the add-ons like the Hugs a Bloom, refill kits for past kits. There's one in there that's a full kit. There's like 8 different products in there right now that are on sale up to 75% off. Depends on the item. Also, free shipping, you guys. There's free shipping happening today, tomorrow, and the next day. So Wednesday through Friday of this week, April 23rd through the 25th, 2025. If you place an order in the US of $75 or more, you get free shipping on your order. Okay, back to this. So I just added gold butterflies in there, but again, you could stamp the pink ones if you wanted to, and I stamped directly onto the paper. We'll set that aside. Now I'm going to bring in my strips. And I'm going to show you kind of what I did here. Some of them look the same, right? But if you flip them around, they look different. And some of them are longer than others. And the long ones will reach across the whole card. The shorter ones will probably have to cut on this one. Probably have to cut it and then shift it over. So those might have to be higher because they're going to have to go underneath the hugs. So probably on my second card that I make with these strips, off camera, I will have to put those 2 strips under here and just slice it so that you don't see how short they were. But this is what I did with that one. And then all you need to do is add a couple more of the brushed brass butterflies just to kind of gold it up a little bit more, right? I don't know where we could put them. We could put them here and here. There we go. Hugs. There's my hugs card. And I did use that base for it, but you could use either base for it. Just added them a strip at a time, used my grid paper to help me out so that I'd know kind of where they would fit. So I estimated 6 of them, and then the 2 extra 1/8 inch strips of gold foil, and then some spacing. And I thought, oh, well, let's just kind of start that about, I don't know, an inch and a quarter up from the bottom of the card. And that's how I got that spacing. All right. The next cards I don't have done for you, and I'm hoping that I can do them. Let's just do one now. I don't have another one of the other card bases. We could use this one, but it's wet. So black or white, either one, or you could use this direction. You could make your black cardstock go the other direction. Let's just stick with this. Okay, taking our envelope. We're going to cut our envelope at 3, oops, go this way, at 3 1/8. I'm sorry, 3 1/4. 3 1/4 inches, and that's going to trim off this rounded edge here. It's going to make the front and the inside layers the same. We're now going to trim off, let's go this way. We're going to trim off a 1/16 of an inch from this side, a 1/16 of an inch from the bottom, just barely cutting that because we don't want to ruin our design. And then we'll open it up and we'll cut again here to create that layer. This layer can now be trimmed to make it fit the card. It can be 5 1/2 inches to fit edge to edge, or we could trim it into 1-inch pieces. You can do the same thing with this, cut it to the size you want, but just know that there are these little flaps on here. So if you're going to put it on a black card base and you need an extra layer on the inside, just know that those little edges will, show a little bit. So you can just add this directly to your card base, and it can be on this one, it could be on this one. Either way, it's going to stand out a little bit because the whites are different, right? The two different whites are different. So, and you could do more punched out circles if you want to, or you could, where did they go? They're over here. Here they are. Or you could take and stamp on a strip. Remember the strip I told you to throw away earlier? No, don't throw it away. Stamp on it. You could put it up on dimensionals. You can add your gold butterflies on there. To change this one up a bit, you can take and cut. Remember I was telling you? Cut, cut, cut. So let's do 1 inch, 1 inch. Oops, keep that straight on there, Rachel. Probably would help if I went like this, because then I can hang on to it. 1 inch, 1 inch. And hey, if you want to do one more, you possibly could fit it in there, but it would be tight. But let's just save that one in case we can. So take these pieces here, and now you can lay them down onto the front of your card to give you that sort of look. Some of you may have noticed that I do not have my blog post connected to my video yet. I've been having some hand issues and I'm trying to stay away from using my devices. But I am going to work on that today using my left hand, my non-dominant hand. So you could do that look, or let's just shove them over a little bit and make these go right to the edge. And so I will work on that. Yesterday I spent time creating, but I did not want to go on my computer. Or you could do that. You know what I mean? Like you could have different looks. So I will be taking these pieces and I'll be creating different looks for you so that you can see the outcomes of those last 3 cards. But I wanted to give you those ideas too. We have prizes. You guys, we have prizes. We have prizes. I hope you enjoyed this. I had one other project, but I'll have to save it for the next time. It's super cute too. Too bad that you missed out on that. But we're at the top of the hour. So let's do prizes, Trisha. What do you think? So I have a winner from last week from the After Live comments. So if you were commenting after the live was done, oh my gosh, yes, we include those comments too. So if you're watching this video and you're not watching it live because it's later, you can comment away and you can get in on the After Live drawing. If we have 100 or more comments, I pick 2 winners. If we have 200, I'll pick 3 winners. You know what I mean? So more comments, the more chances we have. And we had just under, it was like 98 comments, you guys. So I have a winner from last week's video, and we're going to pull up her name. And then what you want to do, let's find that. Hang on. There it is. Okay. What you want to do is, okay, we're just going to make this go over like that. There it is. Okay, you're going to want to reach out to me, Rachel at stampyourartout.com, if your name is the one that I call. Now let's see if we can get this button to work, which hasn't been working for the last 3 lives. All right, there it is. So Cindy Morgan 9533, you are the one that I drew, so you get the prize. And the prize is, last week I believe, oh, what was it? It was products that I have that are in new condition. We have the Poised Peony stamp set, Friendly Seagulls, Courage, and Faith stamp set. So you get to pick from one of those if you are Cindy Morgan 9533. Okay, if you are not her, Trisha is going to pick winners, and I have prizes for that. And basically you get to choose from Stampin' Spots. And I actually have like some blank ones too. So if you are the winner or the winners that she calls out, and I see the names being drawn right now, then you, oops, let's take that off of the screen there. Hang on. There we go. Then you get to pick 5 of these spots, you guys. I have them in lots of colors. As you can see, let's just zoom in. Can you see all the colors there? Congrats, yes, congrats, woohoo! There are the colors. Oops, let's go this direction more and tip it. Because I don't have a list anywhere. You just have to see the video and you have to zoom in, take a screenshot, and then get back to me if you're one of the winners. Congrats to all of our winners. My little, yeah, all my little graphic things are messed up, you guys. It's so weird. Okay. On that note, one more thing to add to the to-do list. Thank you, everybody. I will go live again next Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Time, because I do this every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Time. So if you're new to the channel, I hope that you like and subscribe and make sure that your notifications say all so that you know when I'm going live. If you're one of my YouTube members, and to become a member, there's a link in the description of the video. You click on that and you can join all of our members. Our members are the people who are on the live comments with the rhinestones next to their name. Thank you, members. They also have fun emojis to use. I answered their comments first. They get access to a live video each month, and that's coming up. It's actually this Sunday. This Sunday at 7 p.m. We're doing an evening one, you guys. Sunday at 7 p.m. Central Time for our art supporter members only. They get lots of different perks here and there. Some of them have gotten cards from me. Right now there's a bunch of old Facebook videos that I've brought into their section of my YouTube channel so that they could see all these things from the past. I will be releasing them to the public soon, but just wanted to move them over. And gosh, I don't know. What else can you guys think of? Thank you for the like and share reminder too, Marcia. Yes, if even if you're not subscribing, please like and share the video and let me know if you shared. Congratulations to all of our winners. Thank you so much, Trisha, for being live with us today to moderate. And thank you to all the returning viewers. Even if you're returning after the live is done, thank you to the new viewers. I hope, again, that you stick around and watch in the future too. And now I'm going to let y'all go. Don't forget free shipping today, tomorrow, and the next day on $75 or more US, okay? Links are in my description for lots of things, including the hair that I wear, all kinds of goodies. So check that description out. That's it. I'm going to let you guys go, all right? Now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye.